Good morning, all.
Good morning.
Okay, growing up, who remembers having an advent calendar? Remember those? Those little chocolate bribes that reminded you every morning that you had to be good for the rest of the day? 24 days in a row of chocolate breakfast. It was fabulous. So this year, I have a great niece and a great nephew that are 3 years old, and I sent them an advent calendar. But this one, because, we've come a long way, you guys. This one is of Play-Doh, right? There's 24 little windows of Play-Doh. There's like a little color and a little tool and a little pattern. And so I send a text to my two nieces, and I'm like, order this advent calendar. It should be there before December 1st. Let me know when it arrives. Well, the phone, thank you, Android, auto-corrected Play-Doh advent calendar to Playboy advent calendar. Yeah, true story. My niece replies back, well, this will be a very interesting holiday. You just, thoughtful and provoking, what can I say? I love it when we all laugh together. Humor is the one thing that naturally opens our hearts, automatically brings us together as one, and it just sort of lightens up everything. And humor is often found in the non-perfect, right? And that is, to me, now that I'm older and wiser, what Christmas holidays are all about. It's not about the perfection. It's about the coming together of it all. It's about recognizing that there's something greater than just ourselves that is unfolding in this wonderful thing we call life. And many traditional churches celebrate Advent this time of year. And in New Thought, we actually celebrate Advent almost every single Sunday because it's about preparing ourselves for a life well lived. It's really all about preparation. Preparation of remembering that birth of Christ consciousness is available to all of us all of the time. And yes, there's a special recognition this time of year. And so as a result of that, I'd like to look at Advent in a kind of non-traditional way, because I have my own 4 qualities of Advent. Now, normally it is hope, and then peace, and then joy, and then love, I think is how it goes. And you light a candle every Sunday, and yada, 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 yada. But because what we know is that Christmas is all about celebrating wholeness, it's a principle. Christmas is really a principle of this teaching. It's a principle of divine partnership. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, says of Christmas, it is not a day or a season, but a state of mind. To cherish peace and goodwill, to be full of mercy, is to have the real spirit of Christmas. So, Advent, it's all about preparing one's consciousness, which is why I say we celebrate it every Sunday, every day, actually, in our spiritual principles. But I would like us to focus on how we are preparing ourselves for this life well lived. That there is something within us that's greater than all of those things outside of us, greater than our fears and our doubts and our worries, greater than any habit we may want to get rid of. There's something within us that just knows that there is more to be born in our lives. So I want to look at how we can align with some. We do have a screen. Yay! So the first quality I want to look at is hope. Hope is all about aligning with the possibility. It is about not wishing something is going to happen. It's not about praying so hard. Hope is really a spiritual expectancy. It's that part of us that knows that life is good and that there is greater good coming, and that it just hasn't caught up with appearances yet. It is that seed that we hold within our heart. It is that story that we know continues to be written, word by word, conscious thought by conscious thought. Hope is that inner agreement that more is to be born, more is to be discovered. Because consciousness precedes the experience. In quantum physics, they have learned that at the subatomic level, all the particles are just waves until they're experienced, until something appears to them, and then form begins. Physicist David Bohm described this as an implication order, a hidden, unfolding reality from which the visible world unfolds. What we really see is not there at all until we recognize that we are willing to see it. Max Planck wrote, "All matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force. We must assume behind this force the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind." Hope is really that first part of us that is operating within the intelligent universe. It is that part of us that just allows us to be open. And it aligns ourselves with what yet is to come, which we know is a good life, a life well lived. Because we have that inner expectancy of our good. Imagine life without an inner expectancy of good. We don't have to, because we know fully well it is right here and right now. And then we go to faith, right? Faith is really, to me, how we commit to participate in life. We can hope all we want, but we have to take action. And without the action, there's no reason for hope to even exist. Faith is not blind in this teaching. In this teaching, faith is active. It is confidence. It is our own confidence in the spiritual law, that what we think about, what we know is our truth, and we say it, and we think it, and we feel it, and we experience it in our own minds. That is what becomes our truth. And when we have confidence in that spiritual law, we are allowing our faith to move forward. It is the same faith that the forest has when it drops its seeds. It is the same faith that we have when the moon moves on and the sun arises. It is that activity in our life that allows us to know that the good I seek is already underway, and to be grateful for it. You know, we don't need to have proof. We just need to cooperate with the principle and move forward in that cooperation at a higher and higher level. Ernest Holmes. Faith is the conviction that the universe is on the side of good and that we may consciously cooperate with it. Faith. It's how we move. It's how we choose. It is how we breathe. Another virtue, I believe, comes through clearly during this season is peace, that inner alignment with the truth. Peace is not the absence of activity. It's not about just sitting quietly and breathing. Peace is about being in alignment with the present moment now. Just as it is and just as it is not. It's remembering who and whose we are, despite the chaos and the crazy and the noise. And breathing into that knowledge of goodness. It's about returning to center when the fear starts to get to us. There's a technique, it's called 3, 3, and 3. When things are starting to go a little wild and a little crazy, it's about stepping away for a moment, right? And looking and observing 3 things with gratitude. It's about taking 3 conscious breaths. And the third is about moving 3 parts of your body, be it your toes, your fingers. But it takes us from out there and brings us in here, where the peace is. That peace that says, I am rooted in something bigger than all of this that's going on around me. And I am rooted so solidly that I can have a positive effect on it in this moment. Because that is our truth. When we allow our vibration to come back to center, to become aware and present in the given moment, our vibration raises us up. And it raises the vibration of everything around us up. Our peace, our centeredness, is our gift to the world. It's definitely the gift to those that live with us or are hanging out around us. Peace, it stabilizes us. It allows us first to have sound footing, knowing that exactly where we are is holy ground because we are there. That is that peace. And then you can't have qualities without love, that unifying power, that one thing that brings it all together. It is that energy that animates us. It is that part of us that allows us to just touch others' hearts. It allows us to feel interconnected. Love is that piece of us that knows that what blesses others blesses us. That when we give from that place of knowing that our source is spirit and that our love is deep, that love that we have in our hearts is more than just butterflies in the stomach. It is a healing power. It is a power that allows us to reconcile any and all differences. It is that part of us that becomes willing to forgive. It is that part of us that reveals who we really are in our divine nature. Marianne Williamson wrote, "Love is what we are born with. Fear is what we learn." Love is that original nature. It is that nurturer within us. Love for me this time of the year is listening without trying to fix. Love for me this time of the season is to celebrate the beauty just as it is, even if the lights aren't necessarily working. It's about moving inward. So the poem that Marv so eloquently read this morning was written by Howard Thurman, a theologian, a mystic, a mentor to Martin Luther King Jr. And when I look at someone who's lived a life that embodies that idea of hope and faith and peace and love, he comes to my mind. You know, he grew up in poverty in Daytona Beach. He was raised by his grandmother, who was a former enslaved person. But she was strong in her faith as well, and she taught him that the presence of God could not be taken away no matter what the circumstances. He faced racism, he faced injustice, he faced deep discouragement, severe poverty. But he really, when you read his life story, he rooted himself in these principles. He believed that hope was a greater moral arc that was unfolding in this country. He thought of faith as the trusting of spirit, even though the institutions around him were failing, that this too could change. It was through peace that he cultivated a silence and a prayer and a power and a presence that allowed him to lead and inspire others. And love was expressed for him through compassion, through nonviolence. He was one of the people who encouraged King to really focus on nonviolence. And look at how that movement changed the whole world. He later wrote, "When the song of the angels is still, that is really when the work of Christmas begins." He practiced this. He allowed himself time every day to nurture his consciousness, to allow that flame within to be reborn and reignited. See, when we take a look at hope and at faith and peace and love, they all work together. There's a cohesiveness about them. There's a harmony, and there's a power when we multiply them all together. When these four qualities are aligned, I believe not only are we stronger spiritually, but we're better stewards of this world. We're better stewards of our own life. And we're able to step up and to step out and to have that impact. Whether it be with Play-Doh or Playboy, we can have an impact. A little thought every day. So, as you know, I always do an assignment. And I can't stop just because it's the holidays, right? So, this is what I'm calling a 4-word check-in. And it's really pretty simple. It's just about taking a moment and checking in throughout the day, throughout the night. From a hope, what possibility am I open to right now? In this moment, what possibility of anything and everything were possible? In this moment, what would I want it to be? And what small step can I take in this moment to show a greater trust in that unfolding good? From a peace perspective, in this moment, what part of my body can I just relax just a little bit? Whether it's wrinkling my fingers or my toes, dropping my shoulders. And the most important one is in this moment, what is the kindest response I can give to myself as well as to others? Because we must nurture ourselves first. You don't need to answer all 4. You don't need to ask all 4. But whatever it is that you need to ask yourself, I know it'll come to you. Because now there's an awareness, right? It's so interesting to me. We've all heard that experiment, right? You think about a red car and all of a sudden you only see red cars, right? It works with everything. It works with faith and with hope and with peace and with love. It works with joy. When we start to expect it, then all of a sudden we become more focused on it. And we notice it more. And the more we notice it, the greater it shows up. And the greater it shows up, well, we notice it even more. It is how it works. It is that unfolding of life to a greater good. You know, if we choose to live from this place of preparing our consciousness on a daily basis to this life, well lived and well deserved and well loved, it can be glorious. I had the opportunity to do a memorial in California a couple of weeks back. And the gentleman who I knew personally lived this. He lived large. He lived from that place of enduring love and oneness, giving of his talents wherever he could. And his celebration was a celebration truly of a life well lived. And it made me think about the idea of living each day full of love and connected and spiritually aware and prepared to do the work of Christmas every single day. And with that, I wish you peace. I wish you love. And I know there's hope in their faith because we're all in this together. Namaste.